and thank you everyone for joining us today for our AGM. We are excited as CRNSA to be hosting this AGM, and it is something that has been long awaited, and we are quite excited that we could do it. Thankful to technology that we are able to actually do it from wherever we are around our SADC region. So thank you all for joining us. As we begin, we just want to get to know who is around the room in terms of our meeting room, our virtual meeting room, and to just then be able to then welcome everyone once we know who is here. So I'll start by introducing myself, and then the rest of the CRNSA Secretariat can introduce themselves, and then we can move on to the members. I'm Chengetai Kanyangu, and I'm the Advocacy Officer at CRNSA. I'm based in Zimbabwe, and that's where I am right now. So I'm going to ask Felicitas and the rest of the team to just introduce themselves quickly before we proceed to introduce everyone else.
My name is Felicitas Mutimeti, and I am a colleague to Chengetai, based at the headquarters in Pretoria.
Thank you, Felicitas. Seko and Ino, please introduce yourselves. Okay, I think our colleagues will be joining us soon. So now I want us to get to know our members. I'm going to just start off by perhaps asking our chairperson, Madame Amelia, to introduce herself and perhaps just also let us know who is around the room in Mozambique. Madame Amelia, over to you.
Sim, bom dia, obrigada, Xanguitai. Bom dia a todos. Eu sou a Amélia Fernanda, portanto, a presidente da CRNSA.
I am the CRNSA's chair. With me, I have my colleagues from my secretariat, namely Mr. Narciso Kombo and Mikshon Mongoy. At the level of the members, I do have 3 members currently. 2 other members will join us later. I do have with me Madam Morgan Kuku from Gaza province, a province in the south of Mozambique, Manjakazi district. I also have with me Mr. Edgar Antonio and Madam Anataline Sabimaria. They are members of Rede da Crianças XCOM. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madame Emilia. May I request that when we are introducing ourselves, perhaps just put your video so that we can see you. It would have been lovely to be in a physical space where we can see each other. But COVID-19 has, affected everything. But we would like to see you virtually. Let's move on to Lesotho. Mamotsepe, please introduce yourself and just tell us who's around the room with you. Mamotsepe, are you there? Perhaps whilst we wait for Mamotsepe, we can move over to Zimbabwe. Reverend Taylor, if you could introduce yourself and let us know who's around the room in Zimbabwe.
Morning, Chenge.
Morning, Reverend. Please proceed, but would like to also, if you can put your video on, please.
Yes, I'm trying to put the video on. I don't know what is.
Over to
the host has stopped it.
Reverend Taylor, if you could introduce yourself and let us know who's around the room in Zimbabwe.
Can the host put on my camera? She has switched my camera off.
Okay, let me find out whether Jenny can do that. But I think perhaps you can just go ahead and introduce yourself. Later on, I'm sure we'll be able to see the video. Okay, there you are, Reverend. Please go ahead. We can see you now.
Thank you. I'm Reverend Telanyanete from Zimbabwe, with Zimbabwe National Council for the Welfare of Children. I have board members here present, and close to me, I'll ask him to introduce himself.
Hi,
You can see him.
Dr. Lamio Piri. I'm the board chairman. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mr. Ndou. I'm the National Treasurer.
I'm Mr. Wallace Mupfungwa. I'm the Vice Secretary.
Greetings, colleagues. I am Patience today. I am a committee member.
Hello, colleagues. I am Caspar Pound, the National Vice Chairperson.
I'm a Grand Chico.
So these are the board members present. We also have one who is joining, Mr. Mpofu. He could not make it to Harare, so he's joining in Bulawayo, which is about 450 kilometers west of Harare. So that's where he is, and he'll be following proceedings. That makes up our team. Later today, we'll be joined by the children. But these are the board members who are here present, who will be following proceedings for the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend. I don't know whether Lesotho Mamotsepo has now managed to connect. I thought she was on, but I think we can move on to Eswatini. If you can introduce yourself and just let us know who is in the room with you. Perhaps they may not all introduce themselves, but maybe just let us know who is in the room with you. Are you there, Eswatini? Okay, I think some of our colleagues are yet to join. Namibia, please introduce yourself and let us know who you are with in the room. Jackie, please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie. I'm Jackie from Namibia, and I'm part of the Secretariat of the Namibian Child's Rights Network. And in the room, I have with me different members that will introduce themselves. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Kwesi. I am the founder and director of an organization called A Baby's Cry that works with mothers and their newly born babies.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Grace. I'm from charity organization Point of Light, working closely with less fortunate children and also the albino children. Thank you so much.
Do we have our colleagues from Botswana joining us? Okay, maybe they are yet to join. Can we have Malawi introduce?
Hello, Chenge. Good morning.
Morning, Henry.
Thank you. Welcome to Malawi. Joining me in this meeting are these 5 or 6 members of the coalition, and each of them are representing the network members. We have the chairperson, Desmond Muhango. We have board members, Leon Matanda, Linda Harawa, Alice Banausi, Robert Mkwezalamba, and Rone Konyani. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Henry, and thank you to the guys from Malawi who are joining us. South Africa, kindly introduce yourselves. And then after South Africa, Tanzania. Colleagues from Angola, are you there as well? So that you can introduce yourselves. I see Tanzania there. Please go ahead, Tanzania.
Chenge, Veronica from Angola, she has raised her hand, and we have Patricia from South Africa. I don't know if they're unable to speak or what's happening there.
Yeah, I've asked Jenny to allow everyone to be able to unmute themselves so that when we call upon them, they can be able to speak. So Jenny, please assist us. I think that's what she's doing right now.
Good morning, it's Patricia here from South Africa. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I was on a particularly strange screen. So good morning, everybody. It's Patricia Martin. I'm here in a representative capacity on my own for the South African National Child Rights Coalition, which has very recently been established. And then I'm participating also on behalf of MIET Africa. Good morning, everybody. Lovely to be here.
Patricia. Now we can move on to Veronica from Angola. Veronica, please introduce yourself and who you are with.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Veronica.
Bom dia a todos e bom dia a todas.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, all of you. My name is Veronica Sapalo, and I'm here on behalf of Angola. I do have with me the Women's in Action Platform, which is the organization that I'm representing, together with the Children Community Center from Kazende Municipality, who will be also part of this meeting. Right now, we are facing some issues with internet connectivity, which is very low. However, we are going to try and follow all the procedures until the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we do hope that your connectivity will favor us today, because we really want to hear what's happening in Angola. Let's go back to Tanzania. If you can introduce yourselves as well. Colleagues in Tanzania, I hope you can hear me.
Hello, everyone. I am Emmanuel Thomas from the organization named Agape AIDS Control Program in Shinyanga, Tanzania. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Zambia. Can we hear introductions from Zambia? Okay, perhaps while Zambia is trying to connect to us, let's hear from Eswatini.
Hello, Chengeta, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Struggling. Yeah, we're just struggling connecting, but we're following the introductions. So, but can I just go ahead and introduce, and maybe later when our connection is okay, but can I just go ahead?
Please do go ahead.
Yeah, speaking to Misane Mnisi, ExCom member of CRNSA, but also sitting here with other colleagues. And with me, we have colleagues from the network. We have Tabu Makakula, we have Kango, we have SOS, and we have Bantwana. And all, with us are the young people. It's unfortunate that we can't show you, but with us are the young people. Turn around what?
Tá bem. Agora, iniciar o vídeo, deixa eu ver.
So,
agora sim, agora
hello?
estamos.
Sim,
sim, entramos com o Tertuliano Júlio.
Hello?
I can hear you, but can I ask everyone
Hello?
else to just mute their...
I hadn't finished, sorry.
Yes,
so
please go ahead.
It's about, we have about 9 people around this room, but others will join us later. So we do have a full house with the young people, but I think for this session, of course, it won't be relevant for the young people because they can join in later.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chenga, how are we dealing with the interpretation? Because we had Mozambique, we had Angola, but they're using Portuguese.
We do have interpretation. So if you go at the bottom of your screen, you are able to click where it says interpretation, and then you can click on English so that when any presenter is speaking Portuguese, the translator will be translating into English.
So we need to click the
yes. You click English so that you can hear the English translation.
No, that's good. Otherwise, we do have a full house, and thank you. Otherwise, we're following from the beginning.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Zambia. Josephat. You need to unmute yourself, Josephat. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, I forgot to unmute the speaker. So, greetings from Zambia. And in this room, we have National Child Rights Forum members. So we have Judith Mlenga from Zambia Civic Education. And we have Panos Executive Director, Vusu. We also have Priska from SWAZ and Africa Environment NAMO. We are all executive directors of this organization. Myself, of course, from Advocates for Child Justice. And we do have 2 of them that are coming to join us later on. They are on their way. Then in the afternoons, of course, we will be joined by children, 5 children that will actually be part of this, this team. So thank you so much. Looking forward to this deliberation and interaction.
Thank you very much, Josephat, and the team in Zambia. May I ask?
And, sorry, Chenge, and then also we, just to heads up on what will be happening actually within this period of time. We also have Loyola TV that is coming to cover us on issues to do with child rights, as taking also advantage of this AGM as we are deliberating issues as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Josephat. Botswana. Yes. Please do introduce
Good morning,
yourself.
Chenge, and we are ready. You can hear us?
Great. We can hear you and we
Thank
can
you so
see
much.
you.
My name is Kitso. I'm the chairperson of the Botswana Child Rights Network, and we are happy to be joining the meeting. I also have fellow board members with me and some member organizations also part of this meeting in this room who will do the self-introductions.
Hello, my name is Dickinson Samamo. I am a member of the board for Botswana Child Rights Network. Good morning.
My name is Johannes Kawati from Window of Hope. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Oratile Abra. I'm representing Mothers Union Open Care Center. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Yaonema Foucault. Network check.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Ulibile Machete. I'm from the Botswana Child Rights Network as part of the Secretariat as Childline Botswana. And she's also part of the Secretariat.
Thank you, Chenge. These are the members who are here present in this room, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Botswana. And I can hear you guys are having fun.
Yeah.
All right. May I ask Lesotho? I hope Lesotho has connected now. Mamo Tsepe, if you are here, please kindly introduce yourself and who you are with in Lesotho. Mamo Tsepe, are you there? Perhaps she has not yet managed to connect. So I am sure that I have gone through all our members. We have 11 countries, 11 networks that are members of CRNSA. And thank you all for introducing yourselves. I'm just going to go back to the Secretariat and ask Seko and Innocentia to introduce themselves before I move on to other introductions. Seko and Innocentia, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Innocentia Mashiani, and I'm with CRNSA.
Thank you, Seko.
Hi, everyone. I'm Teko, and I'm working for CRNSA as financial officer, and I'm from the South African office.
Thank you very much, CRNSA Secretariat. Now I'd like to move on. We have a guest, a very special guest who's joining us today from the SADC CNGO, Madame Khumalo. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Please correct me on the pronunciation, Madame, but could you kindly introduce yourselves?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hlobisile Nxumalo from Eswatini.
Thank you. Now I know that it's Nxumalo, right? Is that correct? Thank you so much for introducing yourself, and thank you for joining us as our guest. We also have partners that we've been working with over the years as CRNSA, and we also invited them to be part of this meeting. So I'm going to ask those partners to introduce themselves. I'm going to ask TDH to introduce themselves, Plan International, SCI, East African Child Rights Network, and SAPST to introduce themselves in that.
Morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. My name is Kathy from Terre des Hommes, Germany. I'm based in Johannesburg in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Let's move on to Plan International.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elsie Masava. I'm representing Plan International, the MISA region, that's the Middle East, East and Southern Africa. Extremely glad to be.
Thank you, Elsie. SCI.
Hello. Hello, Chenge. I think we're muted. Oh, thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Morning, everyone. My name is Mitchell Chiviru from Save the Children. I'm the Child Rights Coordinator in Partnerships. Thank you very much for having us.
Morning, everyone. My name is Shinira Joe. I'm the CRG Program Officer, Save the Children International, Pretoria. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, SCI. East African Child Rights Network.
Good morning. My name is Anita. I'm representing the Eastern Africa Child Rights Network. Thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you, Elsie. SAPST.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natasha Antini, and I'm coming from the Southern African Parliamentary Support Trust. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Natasha. I'm not sure whether World Vision has joined us. They are another partner that I would have wanted to introduce themselves. World Vision, have you joined us? If you have, please introduce yourself. Perhaps they are yet to join. I've just been reminded by colleagues from Tanzania that they didn't fully introduce themselves. So please go ahead, Michael Rubon. Please go ahead to introduce.
Hello, my name is Michael Ruben Tibikema. I'm based in Tanzania. I'm working with Elimu Mwangaza, a member of Tanzania Child Rights Forum, but we also have other members like Musa Kombo. I think will also introduce themselves because we are in different geographical location.
Thank you so much, Michael. So I think that's all with the introductions. If there's anyone who I've left out, except Lesotho, where I'm waiting for them to join us, and also World Vision, perhaps they can introduce themselves later. But right now, I just want to
moderator. Can I introduce myself?
Okay.
Yeah, apologies for interrupting. My name is Leon Matanda, a member of the Angel Coalition for Child Rights in Malawi.
Thank you very much, Leonard.
Hello. Sorry, I'm Sakile Dlamini. I work for World Vision in Eswatini. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Sakile. Thank you, World Vision. Now I'm just going to go into a few housekeeping issues before. Okay, there's someone else who want to introduce themselves. Musa.
Okay, I'm Musa Kombo Musa from Pemba Island. I'm a member of Tanzania Child Rights Forum, Tanzania.
Okay. Thank you so much for those introductions. As we move on, I'm just going...
percebido bem estas apresentações?
Sorry, colleagues, could we all mute our mics so that we can move on?
This is Musa.
Allow me also to use this opportunity for all the CRF members to introduce themselves.
Caros colegas, podem todos. Aqui é Musa.
Hello, my name is John. I'm a strategic partner for TISA Life in Tanzania.
Hello, my name is Julius Ubumbe. Yes, I'm a member.
Hello, my name is Christina. I'm the parent from Save the Children.
Hello, my name is Rachel. I'm a member.
Hello, it's Ramos. I'm a member.
Mbeni Kimaro from TISA
Thank
Secretariat.
you, colleagues. Your sound is a bit bad, so I couldn't quite hear some of the introductions there, but thank you so much. And I've also just noticed that our colleagues from Lesotho have joined us now. I'm going to ask Ma Motsepe to introduce herself and just let us know with her so that we can proceed. Ma Motsepe, over to you.
Good morning, CRNSA family. My name is Madina Motsepe. I am the Deputy Chairperson of CRNSA. I represent Letsema Child Rights Network. I am with the members of the Executive Committee. I have the Treasurer, Mrs. Matuso Mureng, and I have our public relations, Mrs. Matempile Demeki. And we also have a member from member organization, She Hive, who are also committee members. We have a representative of children who are already here, but we will wait until we have children at their time. It's just that they were here. And we are sorry, we started well, but you know, technology can disappoint you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma Motsepe, and I'm glad that you finally managed to connect. So just a few housekeeping issues, colleagues, before we move on. At this point of introductions, we had allowed everyone to be able to mute and unmute themselves and to put video. So we are going to now just control that component in terms of us being in control of who can mute and who can unmute themselves so that we can have a smooth flow of the meeting. So right now, our technical person is just going to downgrade everyone and just leave those who are going to be the next speakers for the next couple of minutes. So that is only just to control the sound and make sure that we can all hear each other nicely. If anyone has got any questions that they would want to pose, please do use the question and answer section of the virtual meeting, and we will be constantly just checking to see whether there are any questions and questions that need to be attended to. We also, I had announced earlier that we have translations. We have our colleagues from Angola and Mozambique, and they will mostly be using Portuguese in this virtual meeting. So please just make use of the interpretation icon there, click on it and go to the relevant language that you are comfortable with. We are also live streaming this meeting on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter as well, so that we have a broader reach in terms of those who may want to be following our proceedings for this meeting. So that is how we are going to be proceeding with this meeting in terms of the use of this virtual platform. I also encourage those who will still be able to mute and unmute themselves to always be conscious or to be muted when they are not speaking, and also you can switch off your video when you are not speaking. And then in terms of the child safeguarding issues, we are aware that during this meeting, we are going to have children coming on board. And I know already some of you within the spaces that you are at right now, you already have the children present. I just want to reiterate that CRNSA does have a child safeguarding policy. And with this policy, we intend to ensure that the safety of children comes first in all the work that we do. And even when we are holding such meetings as these, we are aware that we need to ensure that children are kept safe. Hence, we hope that as the children participate, we are able to protect their identities. We are able to ensure that they are in a safe environment, and that they possibly, I know there are chaperones with those children within the networks, and also that there is consent from the children for them to participate in this meeting, and for them also perhaps to even be on video during this meeting. And these are things that we value as CRNSA, and our network members also value. So I just wanted us to reiterate that child safeguarding component, because for the very first time, we are really having participation from children from across the region during our AGM. And this is something that we have not been able to do in the past, but we are able to do it now during this virtual meeting. So we have taken some time, you know, with all the introductions and everything, and we also started a bit late, which I apologize for, but now we need to really move on into the substantial content of this meeting. And right now I'm going to call upon the chairperson of CRNSA, Madam Amelia Fernande, to give us her welcome remarks. Over to you, Madam Amelia. And if you could also just put your video on for this. Thank you. Madam Amelia?
Yeah. Muito obrigada, Xangatai. Caros membros da CRNSA, estimados parceiros,
distinguished partners, dear guests, allow me to, on behalf of CRNSA EXCOM, to greet and to thank all of you for your participation in this fifth ordinary CRNSA's AGM. We do have indeed for this AGM the members, member countries, EXCOM members, partners, guests, children who are going to join us later, and also the CRNSA's secretariat. Dear participants, we are hosting this AGM in one of the most challenging times for all of us in our different countries. The impacts of COVID-19 affect children in our region who are at the core of our work as a CRNSA. However, we are grateful for the technology because the technology allowed us to be together and engage ourselves during this meeting. Because of this, I would like to congratulate all of us for this fifth AGM, which we are hosting under the topic, Together Stronger for Children. I would like to start by highlighting who CRNSA is in order for our guests to know, and also for those, and also to inform those attending or participating for the first time. CRNSA is a network-based child organization that is currently established in 11 SADC countries with more 300 civil society member organizations working in the area of children. CRNSA works at national level with member organizations at regional and continental level to influence child rights policies and practices in child services provisions. At continental and global level, CRNSA facilitates the monitoring and or rights reporting. CRNSA is the civil society forum host and secretariat, and this is an infrastructure for all civil society organizations in Africa to contribute to the monitoring and implementation and presentation of reports on the African Charter on Child Rights and Well-being. This meeting provides a room to promote accountability between CRNSA's EXCOM and members, as well as between members themselves. The AGM is also an opportunity to ensure a legitimacy and representation, as well as inclusion of CRNSA topics. The learning and sharing a platform between civil society organizations working in children in SADC member states provided by the AGM also enriches the network's work over the past years. As the EXCOM chair, I am very proud because due to the fact that this term is coming to an end in a time, in a period when CRNSA has developed a new uh, strategic framework which will bring guidance for the coming years. The new strategic plan reflects the emerging issues in the region, such as environmental disasters and others, rights violations, health education challenges, and also is linked to the African Child Agenda at 2040. The strategic framework will become the guiding document for the national networks agendas. And these will influence in an efficient and effective manner and will bring long-lasting changes for the lives of children and for their well-being. For this, it is necessary that when planning our internal actions, these actions will complement the outcome indicators in the strategic plan. All CRNSA members are invited to take the ownership of this plan. Allow me to stress this once again. All CRNSA members are invited to have ownership of this strategic plan. Our strength will make a significant difference in the Southern African region because we share good practices, national and regional good practices with other interested stakeholders. The implementation of the strategic framework by CRNSA members will ensure that children will not left behind in all development actions in our countries and in our region. In each implementation stage of our strategic framework until 2023, we should be able to measure our achievements and being able to say we made it. Therefore, I challenge all of us as CRNSA members to start working from now on so that we will become stronger for children under the spirit of this new strategic framework. As we become stronger for children, our impact should be felt at national and regional level, as well as at continental level. As we implement this strategic framework, we remain grateful to our partners who have supported us over the years and who have also supported us in the development of this new strategic framework. We would like to thank for your unshaken support, and we are quite sure that your support will allow us to implement this new strategy. I officially welcome all of you for this fifth CRNSA's AGM, and I wish to all of you fruitful deliberations for this session. And I also wish to CRNSA a bright future as we become stronger for children. I do thank you very much for your kind attention.
Obrigada, Secretary.
Thank you so much, Madam Amelia, for welcoming all of us to this very important meeting that we are all quite excited about as CRNSA Secretariat and members. Thank you so much for really giving us that warm welcome and for emphasizing that we need to be stronger for children, really, and this is what we are looking forward to as CRNSA. At this point in time, I am going to ask our special guest to give us her remarks, and our guest is from SADC CNGO, Madame Humalo. I hope I said it right this time. I leave the floor to you to give us your remarks. I hope our guest is still with us so that she can give us her remarks, I mean. Perhaps Jenny, just check that she is able to unmute herself so that she can give her remarks.
Sorry?
Could you check whether Madame Humalo is able to unmute herself? Because I'm not sure whether she can unmute herself right now, whether she can hear me, for her to give us her remarks.
Okay, I've just promoted her. She was one of those ones I had put the name.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope you are now able to unmute yourself so that you are able to proceed with your remarks, Madame Humalo.
Good morning. Hello.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you. May I take this opportunity to greet everyone. Firstly, I would like to greet the chairperson of CRNSA, board members. Okay. Sorry, I've been asked to start a video. Okay. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to greet the chairperson of CRNSA, the board members, the members from the countries represented here, as we have all had their introductions. Partners who are part of us, the meeting today, invited guests, and also children who will be joining us later in CRNSA Secretariat. Firstly, I would like to congratulate CRNSA on this 5th AGM which is taking place at the time when our region is dealing with the challenges of COVID-19, where the civil society space continues to shrink and the children and our children in our region continue to face a variety of vulnerabilities, especially in most countries where we are coming from. Schools are closed, they are at home, there are a lot of challenges that they are facing. An AGM such as this one reflects the value that CRNSA places in ensuring accountability to its members and legitimacy which is derived from such platforms. The new strategic plan that CRNSA has developed requires the civil society members of CRNSA to be accountable to each other in its implementation in order to ensure that the envisaged goal is achieved by 2023. The child focus civil society are at integral part of broader civil society in the SADC region, and we must acknowledge the important linkages that exist between the children's sector and other civil society as we all strive together to bring our state to account on their obligation to the people of our region, including children. As civil society, we have to take advantage of the existing opportunities to influence the policy and practice at the regional level. The advocacy for SADC protocol for children is one such opportunity which CRNSA has embarked on together with other stakeholders, and this can only be achieved through collective advocacy among child-focused civil society in the region. It would also be critical for child-focused civil society to build finances with alliances with non-child focused civil society in the region for this agenda. CRNSA alignment to the regional SADC NGO as well as civil society forum will strengthen the drive for SADC protocol for children. CRNSA has continued to participate through the SADC NGO activities and must continue to do so in order to tap into the valuable experiences of the broader civil society in the region. Whilst the space of civil society continues to shrink in our region, it is so important for the civil society to begin to be innovative in terms of their approaches in order to continue to be visible. The new CRNSA strategic plan offers opportunity for child-focused civil society in the region to begin to think differently in order to respond to which civil society operates. SADC is happy to be part of this meeting. I wish you a fruitful deliberations that CRNSA continues to become stronger for children for our SADC region. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Umalo. She is the president of the SADC CNGO, and as CRNSA, we have been working with the SADC CNGO and engaging with other civil society in the region over the past years. So we are really happy that you could come to this space and be our guest during this very important meeting for us as CRNSA. And a very important meeting indeed, because this is the day that we are going to be launching our strategic plan, a strategic plan that we believe has captured the essence of what CRNSA really wants to achieve in the next couple of years. So thank you so much for being our guest and for your remarks where you're encouraging us to become stronger, where you're encouraging us to become to remain accountable to each other as a network organization. Thank you. At this point in time, I'm going to ask that we move on to the launch of the strategic plan. And I'm going to ask my colleague Felicitas to take over at this time. This is quite exciting for us, and I'm sure that our members are very excited about this launch. So over to you, Felicitas, for the launch of the strategic plan.
Thank you so much, Chenge. Let me try and share the screen. Something is happening. Okay, I think it's ready. It is exciting indeed that we are finally here. We have a new strategic plan that is going to direct the work of the organization in the next so we do have a new strategic plan, the 2020-2023 strategic framework, we call it. It's a framework because we believe that given the context that we find ourselves having to implement within, there are many things that are emerging. In 2019, beginning of 2019, if somebody had talked to us about COVID, we wouldn't have believed them. End of 2018, if somebody had talked about SADC and Cyclone Idai, we wouldn't have believed them. So a framework then allows us to have the flexibility of addressing some of these emerging issues adequately. So we are excited about this day because firstly, yes, we are launching the strategy, but secondly, it's a platform that gives an opportunity for all of us as the secretariat who are going to be driving the strategy, as members, but also as partners, to then really have one conversation around the strategy, ask the questions that matter at this point, but also perhaps give input in terms of those blind spots that could be existing within the organization itself to see where to go and how to get there, in essence, if we are to make this a living document. One might ask why we needed a new strategy or a strategy. We needed as an organization to be organized, and we needed to be organized in such a way that would be effective, because as Chenge said, we have 11 network members from 11 countries. If we were to ask all of those 11 countries whether or not the presence of being together and the presence of collectively working together is the same across the 11 countries, it wouldn't be true. There are some countries that perhaps feel that the togetherness in issues of children in the region is not so strong. So because of that, we needed to organize ourselves. But you organize yourself given what a framework you have that facilitate for you to be organized. We needed to also be effective in the way that we do business, effective in the way that we communicate, but also effective in the way that we service our clients, being children, and their environments, being parents, in some instances being teachers, so on and so forth. But also we needed to be innovative around how do we do things better, because we are continuously seeing that despite us being on the ground, we are experiencing a lot of rights violations for children. We face different issues almost every day. When we think that we have made headways in one area, then we get a surprise to be getting new things happening. Back then, wouldn't have thought about a term child marriage, but now we have it because this is what is happening in our areas. So we needed to make sure that we can be innovative around this area. We also needed to find time or purpose in terms of strengthening the essentials, because sometimes, because we're civil society organizations, we find ourselves really doing everything and everything. And at the end of the day, when you are asked about the impact of your interventions in a child's life, it's very difficult for you to pinpoint, because perhaps you are doing everything at the same time. And because you are doing everything, perhaps there isn't so much focus and there isn't so much resources that you deliberately employ within those interventions, and that then takes away the impact that you could have. And therefore the focus or strengthening the essentials then meant that we can remain relevant, that we can increase our visibility, and that we can deepen our impact at all the levels that we are working in as an organization, working at local level, working at national level, working at sub-regional level, and working at the regional level. And because CRNSA is a network made up of these national networks within the SADC countries, it also means that there's an obligation of CRNSA as an organization to ensure that there's solidarity and that there's learning between all the countries that are part of CRNSA, and that there's transfer of skills and knowledge between these countries, such that we can emerge with agendas and purpose that is similar or that is common, and that perhaps can facilitate for us to say, as a region, we do well in this aspect insofar as children's rights or children's services are concerned. Now, the process itself is such that we had a strategic plan before, the 2015-2019 strategy, which came to an end. So we needed to review and strategy of the organization. You would know that CRNSA was formed in 2012, and it was legally registered in 2015. It was formed in 2012 by a group of people from the region. We have Judith from Zambia, we have Tate Dumisan from Swaziland, we have Reverend Taylor from Zimbabwe, and we have Cindy from Botswana, and others that I wouldn't mention now. So the group of people that came together in 2012, facilitated by Save the Children, their thinking then was that we do have civil society organizations working at country level. How do we collate such interventions and such best practices and such experiences at regional level and make an influence at that level of the region, where we would have a standardized way of dealing with issues of children around the region, and focusing on member states within the SADC region. And as a result of that, the 2015-2019 strategy was then born, because we needed parameters in which we could facilitate such an organization. So because it came to an end, we had to now look into the second strategy, and also look into the context that we are now working in, because 2015 and 2019 and 2020, it's a 5-year difference. A lot has changed, new information, new researches, and new rights violations that we are now facing as a sector. So the exercise of developing the strategic plan took us 3.5 months because, you know, there were COVID issues that we had to deal with. But I think we managed because here we are today. We took the normal procedure that you usually take in an organization where you develop terms of reference, and then you advertise, and then you analyze the bids that you've received, and then you contract. Then you discuss the scope and the deliverables with the consultant, particularly checking the approach that you are going to be employing because you need to get the best results out of the process. And then, of course, CRNSA being a membership organization, it meant that the members of CRNSA needed to be at the central of this exercise because, after all, it's their strategy. CRNSA is existing because of its members, and therefore membership are very important. The members, the executive committee, the staff that are currently at headquarters, and also our partners. We have loyal partners that have been with us since the start of times. I spoke about Save the Children. There's also Plan International. People who have believed in CRNSA even before they got a legal recognition in terms of registration, and the people that understood what this vision was about and where this organization needed to go in order for us to really make an impact on the lives of children, particularly in the Southern Africa region. And of late, we have been joined by TDH and World Vision as well as partners that facilitate for the work that CRNSA does to be able to be done. And then we have those sister organizations, your SABST, your ESRN. ESRN has also been part of this journey since the beginning. And we had similar identities in terms of legal registration and all of those things. So our path in terms of walking the journey has been part of that. And we needed them to really give an input into the strategic plan as well. And then we had the individual interviews, which the consultant did with all of those people. And at some point, I really did feel sorry for him because there were so many people to interview, and then collating that information into a packaged something was a lot of work. And then, of course, there were those elements within that once we got the feedback from the interviews that we still need to follow through. And for that, we needed national networks or the members themselves to now work on those areas, particularly those areas that we're now talking about context in terms of the countries in Southern Africa, where we now needed to understand exactly what are the issues that are facing Lesotho children, what are those that are facing Zimbabwe children, and those could only come from members themselves. We had, I think, 4 drafts before this particular one that we are launching today. And in those 4 drafts, we had to make inputs and feedback, the back and forth between the secretariat and the board. And then we had meetings with the consultant himself, particularly to discuss those areas. I think we held 3 meetings between the beginning of May to June. Those meetings facilitated for us to build consensus and be able to point the way forward in terms of finalizing the document. And here we are today. We are here because now we have the final version of the strategy, a strategy that by all means really speaks to what this organization needs to do going forward and how we need to do that going forward. So we have a vision which has not changed from the previous strategy, which is about a Southern Africa where children's rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled. We want SADC as a region to respect children's rights. We want SADC as a region to protect those rights. And we want SADC as a region to really fulfill those rights. And fulfillment means that we need to have policies and laws in place that facilitate for every other person to be able to provide interventions that are geared towards fulfilling those rights. We need to have policies and laws enacted that facilitates for practice or for interventions to be standardized such that we are able to ensure that there's standardization across interventions, but also that there's accountability in terms of how and when and how we are providing those interventions. And this is where the SADC Child Protocol agenda sits, because if we are to standardize, if we are to hold each other accountable as member states within the SADC region, we need to have something that ties us together, that provides that uniformity, that facilitates for us to really have the same minimum standards in terms of when you say you have respected children's rights, what does it look like? When you say you have protected those rights, what are those minimum standards that show that really indeed you have protected those rights? And when we say we have fulfilled them, what does that even look like? So those are some of the elements that would want to see this region of SADC really harnessing on and be able to deliver on. So as an organization, we therefore exist to facilitate effective national and sub-regional movements for children and contribute to a stronger SADC and an African movement for children's rights. If you look at the children's sector compared to other sectors, you would go into a country in SADC and ask for statistics of children that are out of school and segregated by gender and age, or ask for children that are in school that are not doing well academically, so on and so forth. And it's very hard to get such data, because perhaps it's the way that the region itself is constituted at member state level, where each country has different ministries and accountability structures in relation to children. In some countries, children's issues are sitting at Social Development Ministry. In some countries, they're sitting at the Ministry of Education. In some countries, they're sitting at the Ministry of Rural Development and local government. In some ministries, it's sitting at Gender Affairs. So collating all of that from the different ministries, you would find that it becomes challenging, and we need to have a SADC that is stronger and can be able to really speak to these data that then facilitate for a country to then make a plan in terms of where we are going with such issues. And our values as an organization through the strategy is that we will put children's rights, needs, and interests at the heart of the work that we do. And that we will work together as network partners, based on values of fairness, of respect, of non-discrimination, of interdependence and mutual accountability, understanding that if Zambia is not doing well, it affects Zimbabwe. And that if we are not holding Lesotho accountable, it affects Swaziland. And that's how we want this network to function and to also utilize those structures effectively. We also value learning, knowledge creation, and communication as core practice. You would see that these are some of the values that perhaps were not there in the first strategy that we want to embrace and be able to deliver on based on what we found to be some of the gaps in the way that we were working and in the way that we were interacting with each other, where the thought of sharing a document with another might raise questions to say, why would I need to share with so and so? But we are saying that through that sharing of knowledge, of information, we are co-creating. And by co-creating, we are making sure that we can then have best practices in the way that we do things. We also aim to be of excellence and be effective in the things that we do. I think even COVID-19 had shown us that if we are not responsive, we have serious problems on our hands. When issues around COVID started, we know that a lot of us were running with issues around children's education and whether or not children actually have food in their houses. But also there were children who were being repatriated from their countries or from countries from diaspora. But a lot of child-centered organization had no idea about how many children, for instance, are coming from which country, coming back, and when they come in the isolation centers, how are they treated? Because in some instances, really isolation meant that you can't see your parents, and how do you fare when you already there are issues of separation? How do you deal with that anxiety, so on and so forth? So we want to be effective and responsive to some of these issues. Lastly, we want to promote unity, but also recognizing that in the same unity we are providing, we are diverse in both the strengths and the weaknesses, and that diversity can only make us stronger and stronger for children. If you look at the strategy at a glance, this is what it looks like. It looks like a circle that is connected, that is providing coordination, that is making sure that we are all capacitated at different levels to then be able to provide more information. And with that circle, we are saying that it starts within, with children at the center of the circle. Ooh, what happened? At the center of the circle, and then it moves on to civil society organizations and families. It moves to SADC states, and then it moves to African Union. And by that, we want to ensure that we can engage the whole system within this strategy, and that we can put learning at the heart of the work, and that we can enhance visibility, we can enhance relevance, we can ensure that we are effective and that we are impactful. And we'll ensure that if we learn, monitor, and influence at national level, at sub-regional level, and at regional level, and also ensuring that there is flow of information at all these levels. So these are the levels, and at this point, it shows the different structures within CRNSA, the members, the secretariat, and the executive committee, and how those different structures actually interface with the different levels that the organization operates at. Now, this is the heart of the strategy, the three pillars, the three strategic priorities. We have the intelligence, evidence, and knowledge for influencing. Intelligence, evidence, and knowledge for influencing. The second pillar is that of strong civil society voice, action, and movement for child rights. The third pillar being of institutional development for effectiveness and sustainability. Now, to explain these in full, the first pillar is looking into ensuring that CRNSA becomes a learning system, that we learn together, that we have mutual learning aspirations between the members, between the state actors and other stakeholders. And that through our learning, that's how we can be better capacitated, or better, or have more confidence in influencing. And this influence is about influencing the policy and laws, influencing policy and laws in terms of enactment, in terms of reviews. This is where we take policies that are existing and say, here are the gaps. Or this is where we say this particular law section, whatever, which provides for X and Y, is not working on the ground because of X, Y, Z. This is where we develop policy briefs for those that are legislators, your members of parliament, people that go to the UN structures and make the influence. This is where we make sure that we are knowledgeable enough to influence even the African Committee of Experts in terms of what needs to be on the ground with the reasons why that has to be like that. And within national members, the members of CRNSA also to influence the practice itself in terms of what is obtaining on the ground, because we can have beautiful policies and laws in place, but if those are not implemented and implemented properly at service provision level, then we have a bigger problem on our hands, because it means that we are not implementing these policies and laws properly. And in the event that we don't do that, it would mean that the ability to respect, to protect, and fulfill children's rights really is threatened by such malpractice, if you will. The other issue is around generating evidence and knowledge. And generating evidence and knowledge doesn't necessarily have to be a big research. Yes, big researchers will utilize, because there are many studies all over. Partners like Plan International, like Save the Children, like TDH, like World Vision, they do studies all the time. We have partners like the ACPF who do many, many bigger studies that we can still utilize. We have other partners like your UNICEFs who also do publish quite a lot in terms of the sector that we are in. But here we are talking about generating evidence ourselves. You go to District X and you are able to then say, from the 500 people who are in this particular settlement, we find that 300 out of the 500 have children. And with those children, only 2 of them are able to go to school, because maybe the school is far away, or maybe there's no public transport, things like that. And that evidence has been generated, and we can then influence practice in terms of engaging with the relevant authorities or people who can then facilitate for such to be shared. I was impressed recently just on Facebook, seeing that one of our members and the Zambian Child Forum member, ACJ, they have contributed to a clinic being built in one of the settlements. That is generating evidence that has an impact. And that's where we are coming from. That we can provide contextual relevant approach and thought leadership around children's issues from the perspective of being Africans or being people from Lesotho, and also utilizing the human rights perspective while we do that. So that's the first pillar of the strategy: intelligence, influencing, and information. The second pillar, which is to do with strong civil society organizations, we are saying that we need to have more members who collaborate and influence change at national level. And as CRNSA, we are very proud that much as we are a network organization, we also do work with countries that have structured themselves into networks or coalitions or forums at member state level within the SADC region. And that goes to show that we can only make a difference if we work together, if we collaborate. That if we speak with one voice, it will go far. That being together and collaborating actually does bring a credibility, because the numbers will speak for themselves. We can't have 100 organizations saying the same thing, and you have a policymaker looking the other way. They would have to do something, because those 100 members who are saying one thing, it means that they are also representing masses behind them. And we are saying that for us to be strong as civil society organizations and build a strong movement for children's rights, we also need to build relationships with strategic partners, those that are in our space in terms of the child sector space, but even those that are outside as allies. We need to forge new partnerships with allies who can then support us in some of these advocacy agendas. You had from Madam President Sadek CNGO saying that beyond what we are doing, we need to also ensure that we continue being part of the SADC civil society forums, where we will make sure that even those that are non-children aligned can actually be our allies insofar as talking about issues of children are concerned, particularly because children, we are saying, are the future leaders, but we know that today's childhood and how we influence and make them prepare for adulthood also matters, because if they are future leaders and they're not groomed well now, it means that we can have problems. And then also that CRNSA, in the bid to make sure that civil society organizations become stronger, that CRNSA supports regional organizing, that we can organize ourselves into meetings where we can speak these issues, set new agendas and priorities for issues of children, even into the continent of Africa. The last pillar, which is around the institution and creating effectiveness and sustainability, is that one around ensuring that we have a well-resourced organization that can coordinate this CRNSA, the whole CRNSA structure, membership, and all of that. That facilitates for collaboration, that makes sure that even as we generate evidence and knowledge, and that knowledge and evidence is shared, and that we can provide this technical support to network members, and that we can support the efforts of influence. The other thing is also to make sure that we facilitate for the work that we do to be guided by the strategy, and that members become creative in terms of what they do, but that they can position themselves strategically to be able to mobilize resources to support the work that we do. One of the things that we are realizing in the region is that a lot of our child interventions are foreign aid facilitated. And that is why CRNSA really does call, in partnership with partners like Substi, calling for public investment in children, where we are saying that it's time that domestic resources are also channeled towards children. In the event that things happen, we see a lot of issues or a lot of emerging issues affecting funding and the flow of funding, particularly in the SADC region, where a lot of our countries really have been labeled as upper middle income countries, meaning that not a lot of funding would come this side, because the notion with upper middle income country means that we are able to provide resources for ourselves. And of course, the map of SADC. If you don't, that will be a problem. And the 11 countries that we are currently working in right now are those ones. We are still to penetrate Madagascar, DRC, Seychelles, Comoros, and Mauritius, so that they are part of this, because once again, credibility comes with being together, unity, and having the numbers that back up that this is indeed a SADC thing, and not just a few countries within the region. We've already spoken to this circle, particularly around how we want to see positive changes in policy and law, investment in children, and positive changes in practice. And that is to say, implementation, the culture, and positive changes in children's lives and their lives after their childhood. And we're doing this in alignment to the SADC development plan, as well as the African Child Agenda 2040 and the African Agenda 2063. Okay, I want to conclude, but as I conclude, I want everyone that if they feel that I've been talking too much and that perhaps I've been too fast, I just want them to remember this particular slide. That the CRNSA 2020-2023 strategic framework focuses on 3 pillars. The pillar of intelligence gathering, evidence creation, and knowledge for influence. And we're influencing policy and law as well as practice. The second pillar is that of strong for child rights. Gone are the days where we just speak. We speak and do. We speak and work. We speak and deliver. And as we do that, we are building a movement that would be an authority on issues of children. Lastly, that development is important if we are to be effective and if we are to sustain the interventions that we have. Thank you so much for your listenership. And I think the board, because we were presenting this on behalf of the board, I think the board would also help as the question and answer session is conducted later on. Over to you, Chenge. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Felicitas, for unpacking the strategic plan, our new, very exciting strategic plan. And I'm happy that everyone around this meeting, I was going to say around this room, you know, was part of the very exciting moment for us as we move forward as CRNSA, knowing that together we developed the strategic plan and together we are going to be implementing it. So thank you so much for that. For now, perhaps we may not take questions and comments for now, because I just want us to quickly move on to us having solidarity remarks from our colleagues, our partners who we have been working with, and then take a short break. And after that break, when we come back, we can then possibly have a discussion as we proceed with today's meeting. And I'm doing this because we are quite behind time. Later on today, we are going to have the children also participating. So we want to make sure that we really set aside that time. We don't want it to be a token participation. We want it to be meaningful. So we need to manage our time to ensure that the children later on can also participate meaningfully. So allow me, colleagues, to move on to solidarity remarks from our different partners. And I'm going to ask that we start with the East African Child Rights Network to give their brief solidarity remarks before we proceed with the rest of the program. East African Child Rights Network. I'm going to also call upon SAPST. I'm going to call upon SCI and Plan International and TDH Germany, as well as World Vision. So over to you, East African Child Rights Network. Anita, I hope you can hear me. Can everyone hear me, perhaps?
Yeah, we can hear.
Oh, okay. Anita, are you there to give us your solidarity message as East African Child Rights Network? Not sure whether Anita is there.
Let me give her a call. Let me give her.
Okay. Perhaps as Anita is preparing to come, let's have a solidarity message from SAPST. Natasha, could you kindly proceed?
Thank you very much, Chengetai. If you could allow me to give my solidarity messages whilst my video is off because my internet seems to be unstable.
Okay, you can go ahead, Natasha, although we would have loved to see you.
All right, thank you. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all once again. My name is Natasha Ntini, and on behalf of the Southern African Parliamentary Support Trust, it is such an honor for us to be part of this event. It's such a pleasure for us to be part of this event where CRNSA is holding its annual general meeting and where it is launching its new strategic plan. Fellow colleagues, this launch comes at a very important time when our systems have been put to test as a result of the COVID-19. And in as much as our children do not seem to be the primary target of the pandemic, they are bearing the greatest brunt. We therefore are glad that despite our physical distance, we can still put our heads together for a special cause to protect and promote the rights of our children during this pandemic. SAPST appreciates the work that CRNSA is doing in the region and would like to bring your attention to some of its work, especially around the SADC Child Protocol, which will comprehensively address the needs of children and young people in the sub-regional level. SAPST pledges its continued support mainly in facilitating engagement with parliamentarians at national levels and with parliamentarians at the regional levels. We would like to congratulate CRNSA for developing this comprehensive strategic plan, which will make sure that the rights of the children are fulfilled. We continue to pledge our support and we wish CRNSA the very best. Thank you very much, Chengetai, and thank you very much to you all.
Thank you. Remarks, that solidarity message, indeed we're encouraged, and our partnership with SAPST has really also helped us as CRNSA to move into spaces that we would have not done on our own. Thank you so much. I hope Anita is now with us. If she is, Anita, please go ahead with you.
Okay, so thank you very much to the leadership of CRNSA for the invitation to the launch of your strategic plan, as well as your 5th annual General Assembly. On behalf of the Eastern Africa Child Rights Network, we want to say that we are in solidarity with CRNSA, and we do hope that our partnership will lead to greater interests and protection of children within the continent. Just to say that we are also excited that we'd be able to work with you in your new strategic plan, and we hope that both our interests in regard to protecting the rights and needs of children, which is at the heart of our work, will continue to foster that jointly. So on behalf of the Eastern Africa Child Rights Network, we just want to say congratulations, and we wish you all the very best in your engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita, our sister organization from East Africa, and indeed we've been learning a lot through collaborating with them. Thank you for your for your solidarity with the work that we do as CRNSA. May I call upon SCI to give their solidarity?
Chengetai?
I can hear you and I can see you. Please do go ahead.
Thank you. I think first of all, I'd like to give my apologies from our senior leadership. They have not been able to join us, but they do send their solidarity messages to CRNSA and would like to congratulate you on launching this innovative strategic plan. And as you said, rightfully so, that this is a mandate that has been given to you by the network members, and would like to fully commit to supporting this strategy to ensure that we continue with CRNSA, meeting the vision of CRNSA to ensure that children are indeed protected, they survive, and they learn. We continue working with like-minded organizations like CRNSA to see that children's voices are heard, amplifying their voices on the regional platform, and ensuring that children are indeed at the center of our programming and at the center of this strategic plan. So congratulations to CRNSA and all of your members. Thank you very much. Aluta continue.
Thank you so much for your solidarity with our work. We really value our partnership with SCI, and we hope that we can continue working with you as we go forward. Thank you so much for your support. And now I'll call upon Plan International to give their solidarity. Elsie, I hope you are still with us. I hope you can hear me. I will try to get in touch with Elsie, but perhaps we can ask TDH to give us their solidarity message for now. Kathy, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chengetai. Good morning again to you all, ladies and gentlemen. TDH would like to congratulate CRNSA for the new strategy, which resonates with the work of all the stakeholders here, including us. And we are looking forward to a strengthened voice of civil society in the child rights sector to address important issues, consent and rights violations for children and young people as the rights holders. And we also look forward to a region where these rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled. Since 2016, our work with CRNSA is focused on child and youth participation at regional and continental forums, and having young people articulating the need to attend to issues of transborder child rights violations in migration and in environmental child rights during SADC forums and other meetings that CRNSA have participated. And also TDH has, together with other child organizations, focused or contributed to having a SADC protocol for children and young people, which CRNSA is coordinating on behalf of the sector. Together Stronger for Children, as you are saying here today. We hope to continue working with CRNSA in the regional and continental advocacy on the work of the protocol, to include the issues that are also pertinent to us, like in migration and environmental child rights. And while even the region and our work this year with CRNSA has also focused on responding to COVID-19. And I'm excited to see this strategy talking about documenting children, documenting one of the pillars, learning and documentation, because our work with CRNSA this year is focusing on documenting children's experiences socially, nutrition, psychological, children without parental care, children with disability, children on the move, including refugees and internally displaced children. And This documentation will then be used to link children with appropriate service providers, as well as advocating tools to engage with SADC member states. So we are excited about the new strategy, and as it is adding on to the work that we're already working with CRNSA. We wish you an effective and fruitful AGM. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. And indeed, as CRNSA, we've learned a lot through the experiences that we've had in our partnership with TDH, and we have actually been exposed to more within the child rights sector through our partnership. Thank you so much, TDH. May I call upon World Vision to give their solidarity.
Thank you so much. I would like to begin by expressing the apologies of my director, Vianney. She could not participate this morning. But for us as World Vision, again, congratulations for the wonderful strategy that has been presented this morning. It really aligns to the objectives of our organization around ensuring children their rights are fulfilled, and also they are able to participate in the decisions that affect their lives. We pledge to continue working with CRNSA, as we know and we understand that the objectives of CRNSA are also in line with what we seek to achieve as an organization. And so with that, we look forward to working with you together with the other partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sakile. And indeed, as CRNSA, we also look forward to working with World Vision as the list of our partners grows. Thank you so much. I hope LC is now able to come on board and represent Plan International for the solidarity message. LC, I hope you can hear me and that you are there. I think we may have lost Elsie. I don't see her here. Perhaps if she rejoins, we
work with you to translate children's rights into a reality. We really appreciate this initiative, and hopefully it will also help us as we continue to work on promoting and protecting the right of children. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, GMT, for that introduction. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just looking at our time. I'm also looking at the program, and I know we should have taken a health break some 20 or so minutes ago. So I'm going to propose that we take perhaps just a 10-minute break. I know you want to maybe get up from where you're sitting, take a stretch, grab some coffee for those who are joining online, and also those who are seated in venues around the different countries. You probably want to grab some tea. So I'm going to allow, let me make it just 15 minutes, I think, because I think people will need to get out and get their tea or snack or whatever. So let us come back at 11:50, just a 15-minute break, and then we come back because we are a bit behind time. So allow me to do that, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can proceed with our day. Thank you so much for participating in this very first formal session for this morning, where we have launched our strategic plan. I hope that we can continue to be together, and later on, you know, we can all be part of a bigger discussion as we go forward with our AGM. So let's take a break now and come back at 11:50. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I think we can continue now, and I hope that you are all back. This is the disadvantage of these virtual meetings where you can't actually see whether people are back to their places in order for us to continue. But we will work on the element of trust that we have all come back. So as we continue, I just want to note that you'll notice we haven't really had time for discussion. We haven't really had time to have comments from participants because this morning really is about, it's a formal session where we are really just talking about what is happening now at CRNSA, our strategic plan. We also want to give feedback to the members on what the Secretariat has been doing. We want to give feedback on what the resolutions of the board have been. So this is really a time for us to be understanding more of the internal issues that have been happening at CRNSA. And I recall earlier, the president of the SADC CNGO reiterated the need for civil society organizations to be accountable. So I would say this is somewhat of an accountability kind of session where the Secretariat will give us a report so that everyone, all the members can understand what has been happening with the Secretariat. The board is also going to give us a presentation on their resolutions. So this is just a way of being accountable, which is a very important part of this annual general meeting. So allow us to proceed that way so that we can also be able to break for lunch at 1 o'clock. I know that our members are attending from specific venues, conference facilities, and I know that those hotels and those conference facilities have guided that lunch will be at 1 o'clock. So the next two presenters, I would ask that you, maybe just briefly express yourselves on what you are sharing with us so that we can be able to break at 1 o'clock. And I know that those who are also attending from home, working from home or the office, will also want to take their lunch at 1 o'clock. So before I waste the time, which I am saying let's save, let us proceed. And I'm going to ask that the Secretariat starts by giving us their presentation, sharing with us their report. And then after that, we'll have the board resolutions. So I'm going to hand over again to Felicitas to just give us briefly the Secretariat report. Felicitas, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chenge. And recognizing time constraints, we have just made a summary of the report. And then I think more information we can discuss more at the question and answer session. But basically, this is just to give members a feel of where we are, what certain things, and maybe to speak more to the resolutions that were made in 2019 at the fourth meeting that we held in Maputo, Mozambique. In terms of CRNSA as the headquarter level, our operations are such that we have new offices now. We have moved, initially you know that we were housed by Save the Children, and then we moved to a one office room where we're also sharing, but we now have new offices in Pretoria. The address is as it appears there, 66 Ingersoll Road, in Glenwood Glen. We have a total of 4 staff members. I'm sure you had them introducing themselves this morning. Myself, Chengetai, who is the advocacy and communications person. And then we have Teko, who is the finance and operations officer. We have Innocentia, who most of you know because you communicate a lot with her, as the program assistant and administrator for CRNSA. But we also have who been seconded to CRNSA from Eswatini, from Swaziland. Projects. And then we have TDH, which is an annual contract that we have with them. And then World Vision, for now, it's a technical support type of funding that we have with them. And you would know that with technical support, it's ad hoc. It's as and when you need that technical expertise. But we do have a memorandum of understanding that we have signed between ourselves and World Vision. And we currently have 6 projects that are running. The CSO effectiveness, that's the project that facilitates for the trainings that we usually have around instable principles. That usually facilitates for you as members to have your strategic plans. I'm talking to those countries that have benefited from this, and is able to make sure that the board actually does sit and deliberate on issues that are to do with the organization and its strategic direction. And then we have the PASAP. PASAP, it's African State Accountability Project. And this one is about rights monitoring, is the one that facilitates for the reports that we usually do either to the African Committee of Experts or the UN CRC, and conduct the trainings around human rights mechanisms. And yes. And then we also have Children and COVID, funded by TDH, and we have CEDA CSO funded by Save the Children. The last one was around the 61. Oh, yes. It was around the experiences of children and COVID that we have. We are also the lead secretariat or convener of the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Children Civil Society Forum. In that role, we are assisted by ESRN and Mthuthu News. And as the lead secretariat, it means that we have to deal with a lot of contracting and financial issues, as well as ensuring that activities actually do take place around that. And I'm sure that you've seen that this year, perhaps, we have a lot of CSO forum activities that have taken place, and we'll be going into November for the 17th CSO forum that will be sitting in November. And we have Save the Children really helping us with that in terms of our ability to stage CSO forum sittings. In terms of the achievements, as I said, I want to be brief, but we can pride ourselves with the fact that we are now mastering working through the networks. I know that sometimes it's tiring when we go into Zambia and we ask the forum, the Zambian Child Rights Forum, to be the one that is facilitating for us to be in the country and have everything that is needed for certain activities to happen. But it is because we want to co-create, we want to share information, but we also want to ensure that we are unified as organizations in country. Meaningful child participation. You would agree with me that we are now doing well on that. Yes, there are still some elements that we need to learn, particularly around chaperoning and transport issues. and time management that we have to learn around children and child participation. But we are doing well in that endeavor as well. We have held more child events and child-led events than we have in the past years that we were in existence. We are making roads with the SADC Child Protocol, and we are very much happy with where we are now. However, we still need to go a long way, because the actual dream is to see SADC having this protocol in place. So as long as that is not in place, we haven't necessarily arrived to where we need to go. We are now visible as an organization in areas or platforms that matter. We still to map up some of those that we haven't utilized yet. But at the SADC Civil Society Forum, we are there, and we are part of the steering committee as convened by SADC CNGO for civil society. It's like your CSO forum of SADC. So we are part of the steering committee, and that for us ensures that issues of children are constantly at the agenda, because they say if you are not at the table, you become part of the menu. So you need to be there to cement your place. And visibility as well within the SADC Secretariat, SADC as an organ itself, our visibility and all of that. Now we have built it such that we are known and understood in terms of what it is that we do and what we want to achieve at regional level. We have also strong partnerships with like-minded organizations, as you heard this morning, Subsidy talking about how we work with them, ESRN as well. We have others that are not necessarily here today, your REPSIs, your RIAT, ISA, that we are also working with. And then project results at national level, we can talk a lot about this, particularly how we have been able to facilitate for national networks to engage with members of parliament, how we have facilitated for civil society organizations to go through the human rights mechanisms trainings, child rights monitoring and reporting, and how we have facilitated for children in countries to actually meet and deliberate on issues of their interest, and how these have culminated into outcome statements that are now used to engage with the powers that be in terms of influencing policy and practice. We are currently working to finalize what our collaboration would look like with the East Southern Africa UNICEF office, and we'll be meeting with them soon to finalize on this. But inroads have been made in terms of understanding that we need each other, and that our partnership could be mutually rewarding for both CRNSA and UNICEF in the long term. And we are also proud that we are able to comply with donor contracts, and sometimes, yes, here and there with the reports, but the ultimate thing is that we are compliant. And of course, the visibility of the CSO forum, I'm sure you would agree with me that now more than ever, we are visible. We have a fully functional board. We have a board of 5 members as per the CRNSA constitution. Currently, the chair is Mozambique, and we have the vice chair in Lesotho, and we have the treasurer in Swaziland, and we have additional members in Zimbabwe and Botswana. So these are the 5 members of the or executive committee, as we call them at CRNSA. You would know that at the last AGM, we had indicated that in terms of our membership then, that we had some challenges with Namibia. We discussed this in detail in Maputo, Mozambique, and we are happy to report today that those challenges have since been resolved. There have been several meetings and emails that were exchanged between ourselves as the Secretariat, the CRNSA board, and Namibia, and ultimately those challenges were resolved. Namibia is now fully on board. We now have the South African Child Rights Coalition, and you had some members of that coalition here present, like MATI through Patricia, Gracia Michelle through Richard, and the colleagues. We had hoped that we'll have DRC today, but I guess issues of interpretation are the ones that led to their non-participation, but we are finalizing with them to be on board. It would mean that we are left with 4 more countries that we need to make sure that they are part of this. In terms of the resolutions, Chenge, allow me to, what am I going to do? Oh, what am I doing here? Something happened.
You are clicking on.
Let me stop sharing.
Yes, you can see your emails.
Okay, sorry. Oh, that's not the one. Jesus, what's happening?
Stop sharing. Let me stop for you.
I did. Sorry about that, colleagues. I'm looking for, oh, there they are. Okay. The resolutions, Chenge, I'm going to run through these as well. Oh, where's my icon? Because we resolved in Maputo, Mozambique at the 4th AGM that we needed to harness on the demographic dividend of having children as majority in the SADC region and utilize that through the SADC child protocol. This is ongoing. And we needed to make sure that we ask SADC member states to really accelerate domestic resource mobilization and allocate more resources for children's interventions. This is also ongoing, as evidenced by the numerous engagements that we have with members of parliament and with some of the activities that we conduct in collaboration with SABSTI. We also were to make sure that there is meaningful involvement of children and of national networks within the SADC protocol. And this is ongoing as well, as evidenced by the numerous in-country discussions we've had or consultations we've had with civil society organizations and children in Malawi, in Zambia and Zimbabwe, in Lesotho, in Botswana. We are left with Swaziland, Mozambique, Angola, because Zambia, we had done it previously and we even did it as a video then. And then we were to also make sure that the SADC protocol segregates children and youth, because when we started this, we said it's a child and youth protocol. But now we see young people are also developing something similar to this. So we are saying it's done, but it's still ongoing because not all of us agree, particularly the steering committee. They still challenges in terms of just having it as one cohort type of protocol, but the feedback we are getting from members and children is that it needs to only be children. So yeah, it's still ongoing. We were to also make sure that CRNSA remains the lead organization within this advocacy agenda. Yes, we are still the lead, but it's ongoing because we are the lead, but we have partners who are part of the steering committee, helping us to think through this process and to utilize the structures that are there. We were also asked to make sure that we can have operational systems for the CSO forum, and this is ongoing because we are currently developing the strategic plan, and then all other things that go with it, like the website and so on and so forth. We were to inform ourselves about the UNCRC and the African Charter, the structures, the reporting timelines, and the requirements. We have done a lot of trainings, but the reports, as you would know, they're still ongoing. So this is an ongoing process, similar to the one underneath in terms of the state party reports and the concluding observations. We were also to build a body of knowledge on children's rights. And I must say that this one, we have not been able to do it as of yet. But we are glad that the new strategic plan actually emphasized ICT and building a system around that. If we are to really deliver on the first pillar around intelligence, evidence, and knowledge building for influence. So I guess it will. Yeah, so I want to stop here, Chenge, and then perhaps when we have the question and answer session, which I don't know when, looking at the time, perhaps we can expand more in terms of this report. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Felicitas, for sharing the Secretariat report and for reminding us on the resolutions that were made in Mozambique at the last AGM. And colleagues, I encourage you to just take note of whatever questions or comments you have. You can also post them on the question and answer section there on this virtual meeting, so that they can be part of the discussion. I am going to try and make sure that we do have time for discussion before we go for lunch. So I'm going to call upon Reverend Nyanete to give us a brief outline of the board resolutions. I hope that will take us about 20 minutes so that we have time to have a brief discussion before we go for lunch. So Reverend, over to you.
Thank you, Chenge. All protocol observed. You can share the slide so that I'll be able to walk through it.
I hope you can see it now. Please confirm that you can see it. I've shared it.
Yes, you have shared it, but I've also opened on my laptop so I can just walk through, because the one on the screen is a bit at distance, but I'll just walk through. Yeah, I can see it clearly now. I hope everyone is in the resolution. Can I go ahead?
Please do go ahead. Before you go ahead, can I just remind colleagues to mute your mics, please? Please mute your mics so that we can only have Reverend unmuted for this particular time. Go ahead.
Thank you. Executive Committee resolution for consideration and adoption by the AGM, which is happening in the 2 days. The following were the resolutions made by CRNSA Executive Committee meeting, their last meeting held on the 29th of September 2020, which was a virtual meeting. 1. CRNSA Strategic Framework 2020 to 2023. Making the strategic plan a living document, while the finalization of the second strategic plan was commented as a milestone for the network. It was agreed that this document has to be made living by ensuring that the work of the Secretariat is derived from it. Further, the same Secretariat should unpack or popularize the document gradually to membership so that there may be a strategic fit between the work of the members at national level and that of CRNSA at the regional level and continental level. 2, CRNSA Secretariat. The Executive Committee moves that the organogram of CRNSA be reviewed in alignment to the new ways of working through the new strategic framework to facilitate its implementation. Titles within the Secretariat are to be changed and the new ones to be created as per needs identified in the strategic framework and resources be mobilized for this endeavor. 3, need for CRNSA capacity. Following findings by Plan International and Save the Internet OCA in the new strategic framework, it has been agreed that CRNSA structures need to be capacitated on other children thematic areas, particularly on the use of media and monitoring of results and impact during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that all CRNSA structures are all efficiently functional from the Secretariat to the ExCom up to the membership. 4, rules of engagement and code of conduct plus minimum standards for members. Chenge, may I ask you to just push up a little bit? Oh, it's me. Sorry. Let me just push up this screen a little. Yeah. Okay. 4, rules of engagement and code of conduct plus minimum for members. The code of conduct, which is expounding on the CRNSA constitution, will have to be reviewed so that it accommodates various CRNSA members at different levels of organizational development. Further to this, existing minimum standards of membership will have to be reviewed in line with collaborative activities taking place at national level, financed by CRNSA headquarters, as well as feedback between HQ and membership, profiling members' work, facilitating cross-pollination and accountability at all structures. 5, moving to accounts. ExCom resolved to locate CRNSA accounts for Eswatini as known to Pretoria, where the organization is registered and headquartered offices are, to enable the organization to fully comply with legal obligations of annual returns, tax, donor compliance, and so forth. 6, Executive Committee elections. Constitutionally, the current Executive Committee's term ended in April 2020, save for the Vice Chairperson, who will automatically assume the chairmanship position, staggering, and since the AGM had been postponed, then because of COVID-19 challenges, lockdowns and their restrictions, and non-completion of the strategic plan, then the Executive Committee moves that the current committee continue to play its role until April 2021, when elections are held to align to the constitutional term for the current committee. I think those are the board resolutions, and I want to hand over to Chenge so that you're able, or Madam Chair will be able then to ask the AGM to adopt the resolutions. Thank you. Over to you, Chenge.
Thank you, Reverend, for running through those resolutions, and I hope that we all taking note of them. I think I'll hand over now, Madam Chair Amelia, because I think there's a process that needs to happen now where the members can adopt the resolutions. And also perhaps if there are any questions or comments or issues, perhaps they can be taken now if they do affect or if they have something to do with the adoption of these resolutions. So I call upon Madam Amelia for that process. Yeah.
Muito obrigada. Obrigada, Reverendo, por ter apresentado as resoluções em nome do Comitê Executivo. Face tanto ao conteúdo das resoluções, tanto queríamos submeter junto da Assembleia para a deliberação. Tanto gostaríamos que votássemos. Quero acreditar que o secretariado vai tanto ajudar na forma como é que vamos deliberar. Não sei se é por via do voto. Estamos preparados, Xengetai? Portanto, iríamos deliberar naqueles moldes clássicos, que é votar, sim? Xengetai, pode me clarificar se estamos preparados para...
I think perhaps the way to proceed would be for us to just have the members come in with comments or questions, and then after that we can have a mover, someone to move a motion for adoption of the resolutions, and then have someone else to second the adoption of the resolutions. So for now, I would encourage that perhaps if members have questions or any comments, that perhaps they share that before someone can move for the adoption. So colleagues, does anyone have a question, a comment? Are we all happy with the resolutions? If we are, then we can have someone propose and the adoption and someone to second.
Okay.
Chenge.
Yes.
I propose that we adopt the
Sim, mas ela pode escrever para podermos acompanhar. Ela pode escrever. Portanto, quero acreditar que ficou clarificado os moldes pelo qual vamos deliberar. Então, a seguir, iríamos, portanto, fazermos os comentários. Estão convidados.
No. So the floor is open for comments. Is that for comments and questions? Any question or comment?
I am not seeing any comments or any questions on the chat or on the question and answer section. And I think Motsepe was saying she is moving a motion to adopt. So Motsepe, I don't know whether you are able to speak again because we didn't quite hear you nicely, or perhaps you can type in the chat box or in the question and answer so that we can hear what you were saying.
Thank you, Chenge. I hereby move that we adopt the resolutions as they are presented.
Thank you, Ma. Motsepe from Lesotho has moved for the adoption of the resolutions by the board. Is there someone else to second her? Do we have a seconder for that motion?
Eu gostava de dar opinião dos membros também, dos membros do Conselho.
I would like to hear the opinions from other members apart from the EXCOM members.
Mm-hmm. So CRNSA members, if you could, kindly come forward with your comments, and if you are in agreement with these resolutions, or if you have any questions about any one of those before they are adopted. I don't know whether there are any comments from Angola or any comments from Botswana, Eswatini, Malawi, Namibia, South Africa, who are new, but they have a say in this adoption. Tanzania, Zambia, are there any comments that you might want to just give us? This is the time we really try to make sure we set aside 30 minutes before lunch so that we can hear from each other about these internal issues. Because if our internal issues are in order, we know we can proceed well. Josephat, you can go ahead.
Hello, Chenge. Hello.
Hi, Judy.
Hi. We are just wondering, in terms of procedure, a procedural issue, the Lesotho is part of the EXCOM. So Lesotho was part of the committee that drew up the resolutions. So procedurally, is it okay for Lesotho to propose to adopt its own resolutions? Just a question.
Thank you, Judith. I think Madam Amelia came in on that one, and she has requested that we hear from others who are not in the EXCOM. So thank you for that very important question. But I did hear Madam Amelia make a comment and say that let's hear from others who are not in the EXCOM. Thank you for noting that.
Chenge.
Yes, Ma'am Otsepe.
Without making it a dialogue, well, there are different ways of handling this. But I normally would have thought that because we were the group that designed or decided on these resolutions, that we were to first prove that we were part of them and we agree with them, so that we open doors for other people to comment. That's how I have seen it done in other AGMs, but I'm not in disagreement with what Judy is proposing.
Okay, if I can come in. Go ahead, Felicitas. I think it's important that we hear, firstly, even before there is a mover and a seconder, I think we need to hear from members, engaging on the resolutions, maybe one by one, in terms of what does it mean, because even resolution number 6, it affects all of us because it's speaking about elections. If all things were normal, we would have elected maybe in April if we had not been stopped by COVID and perhaps by the fact that the strategic plan was not complete then. So all I'm asking is for members to really engage with this process, because once the resolutions are adopted, they are our resolutions. And perhaps there are elements within the resolutions that they would want the ExCom to explain further or to elaborate. This is the time that we can do that, really. Thank you, Felicitas. And I think that the encouragement is for members to really come forward. Okay, this is Angola. Okay, please go ahead. Please.
Alô?
Please go ahead.
Bom dia.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah.
This is from Angola. I am from the Gender and Child Protection Development Network from Cassende. My name is Maria José Julio. First and foremost, I would like to thank CRNSA for this broad and exhaustive work. And I also would like to say to CRNSA that if the ExCom term ends in 2021, how do you leave a certain country such as Angola, where child rights are not a reality yet? And how the coming years will be? What will be the direction that will guide these child rights and child protection in Angola? This is my first issue. The second question, or the second issue, is that I would like to know from CRNSA, with the work that you have developed, and since CRNSA has already visited Angola, how did CRNSA see or understand human rights in Angola? How are human rights how child rights in Angola are being dealt with? Because CRNSA has already visited Angola. And I also would like to better understand the voting process. Countries such as Angola will be able to vote as well through our main organization, PMA, or only those member countries will be able to vote. Will Angola be able to vote or not? Thank you. This is all on my side.
Thank you, Angola. Thank you very much for coming in with your comments. And I would encourage that the ExCom, the board members, please take note of these questions so that they can be responded to. I think I'll take a round of maybe 3 or 4 questions from the different countries before the responses. So thank you, Angola. The question has been noted and a response will be coming. We just want to get a few more questions from others, then we get responses. Thank you so much. So colleagues from the other countries, if you can also come in with your questions, with your comments, so that we can have a discussion on these resolutions before they are adopted. Earlier on, I had seen as though Tanzania wanted to say something. The Tanzania network, do you have a comment, a question?
Hello, Shange.
Yes.
Could you kindly display the resolutions
Okay.
for us to follow through? Yeah.
All right, let me do that. Okay. I hope you can see them.
Is it possible that you can move the part which says executive committee up so that we just remain with the numbers on the number? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get up to 4?
Then
Let me know if
not there.
Number 4, 5, and yeah, number 4 is not. Number 5 is not there.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
don't
you
know how you
want?
can align it so that we see.
I could make it smaller if possible. I don't know whether then you would still be able to read it if I make it smaller. Can you still read it?
Yeah, I think we can move up and you can move.
She can just increase it a little bit.
Could you increase it a bit?
Remove the ribbon from the top of your screen, you can probably put more of the document in. You can go, I'm sure you can even, yeah, there we go. That's.
I can increase it a bit.
Yes, now this one is.
That works better, does it, colleagues?
That is better.
Yeah, I think that's better.
All right. So okay, so perhaps I'm kind of feeling that colleagues might want to just reflect on these whilst I've put them on the screen. You know, you can be looking at them and thinking around the issues you want to raise, whilst those who are ready to speak can already go ahead.
Yeah, Chenge, you have Dixon, you have Patience, you have John, and you have Kimaro. They've raised their hands, so perhaps they can.
I'll start with Dixon. If you can please go ahead, then move on to and Ombeni. So Dixon, you can go ahead.
Okay, now as about, can you see me? Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, now as Botswana, we do agree with the resolutions. The only challenge that we experience is that maybe if this was shared with us before the meeting to have a meaningful engagement, that's the only challenge we have, because now the time is not with us. The points are very important. The thing is, I think it could have been better if we were in, maybe we had, but I don't know. Okay. Sorry, the other thing is whether this could be, is there opportunity for us even to engage further maybe after this, or is it closed? I mean, the comments on the resolutions, or is it final? Just a question.
I think perhaps, Madam Chair, you can assist us with that. But let me just take a round of questions. Then that will be responded to as well, whether engagement can go beyond this meeting.
All right.
So thank you so much for those comments from the Botswana network.
Thank you.
Patience, your hand is up. I've allowed you to unmute so that you can speak.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is from Zimbabwe. Our suggestion is that if this seems to be taking time, so maybe the moderator can go through each resolution and ask if there are any objections to it. If there aren't, we move to the next one and then we adopt, because we don't see anything wrong with it and we do support the motion to adopt. But to ensure that everybody has participated, the moderator can go through each one of them and ask if there are any objections or comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that useful suggestion. I think we'll move on as such, but I will just ask two other people who had comments so that we take all the comments at once before we proceed with what you have suggested. So Jones, I'm allowing you to speak, and then after Jones, Ombeni. Jones, I have allowed you to unmute. Please speak. John, you're already unmuted, so you can go ahead. Jones is unmuted, but I can't hear him.
Hello,
I don't know what they...
Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay, we can hear you now. Please go ahead.
All right. Now I know we have moved to the resolutions proposed, and I was looking at the list of the resolution. I think on number 4, and I was wondering what kind of intervention does CRNSA have, or maybe interaction or engagement that CRNSA have when things go wrong at the individual network level. Do we normally have any kind of intervention in terms of, for instance, mediating, trying to meet with the, fighting or internal friction within the network, and whether there are best practices that we can learn, maybe across the membership all around South Africa, and whether there are anything to share with members that we can learn from.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have noted that question or comment around the resolution number 4. I'll ask Ombeni. I think they're the last one with their hand raised so that we can move on. Ombeni, please briefly ask your comment.
Okay, good afternoon. Part of what we are about to ask has been asked by Botswana and Jones, who actually we are in the same team in Tanzania. Now, on behalf of the board and secretariat, we agree with the resolution that have been made, and we wish maybe after the resolution national networks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ombeni. So I think we can go back to
on number 4, Change.
Yes, please go ahead, Josephat.
So on number 4, we are trying to find out on how the code of conduct will be enforced on national level, especially that at national level you have networks and which have members. So how do we intend to, and they have their own code of conduct. So how do we intend to enforce that? Members.
Mhm. Thank you for that comment. So I think how we can proceed now is that I'm just going to just go through the questions that have been raised, ask the ExCom and perhaps the CRNSA coordinator to also assist in responding to some of these briefly. And then we will just then say, take the advice on just going through to say, do we have any other issues on number one? Do we have issues on number two, number three? And then we can then get someone to move for adoption and second adoption, and we are done. So I'm going to give 5 minutes for the responses to the questions asked. Angola asked a question about whether they are going to be able to vote and how we as CRNSA view the human rights situation and the participation of Angola in CRNSA. And Botswana asked whether they asked whether we can engage on these resolutions beyond today's meeting. Zimbabwe agreed with the resolutions and then gave the suggestion that we go back one by one. There was also a comment. In fact, there's a lot of interest around number 4, the resolution number 4. So I think that if ExCom can just, explain it a bit more, how that is going to be functional, that resolution. And then another question around the secretariat and its expansion and how that affects resources. So if I could just give some of the
Option of these resolutions. In relation to the question asked by Angola, I do have to say that in terms of the CRNSA's opinion vis-a-vis the child rights in Angola, I do have to say that it's not very different from what happens in other countries. What we have reported in our report and in the strategic plan reflects some in our countries. We consulted our members in order for them to tell us exactly the child rights status in their countries. Therefore, we know very well that child rights in Angola are challenging. They are in a situation of lack of resources, lack of financial resources to implement initiatives aiming at the well-being of children. Angola is a country that also requires a lot of collaboration. We know that in a recent past, the country was in a lockdown, was closed, but with the new president, there is some openness in relation to the work conducted by CSOs. This is to say that we are paying a lot of attention in Angola, and we also plan to continue with the work that we have started in Angola. What I would like to suggest is that for Angola to better organize itself and inform us which organization will represent Angola under a crisis scope. I believe that this is Angola's homework. This is the work that Angola has to do now. In relation to the electoral or elections process, I believe that once we approve the resolutions, we are going to guide the members that according to our constitution and how this process will be made. And once Angola becomes a full right member, Angola will be entitled to vote. Only those full member countries can vote. So once again, it will be important for CRNSA, this is for Angola, to speed up the election process of the national organization to represent Angola with CRNSA. In relation to other questions, I believe that my ExCom colleagues will be able to help me. I concur with the comments that were made previously in relation to the resolution. This is all that I have to say for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma Emilia. Perhaps, Ministers, you can come in on some of the issues raised there around the Secretariat and maybe also on the resolution number 4.
Okay, thank you, Chengen. Thank you, Madam Chair. In terms of Angola, we are supposed to come to Angola, but that will be virtual, of course, soon to engage on the SADC Child Protocol. So if there are any other issues that perhaps are not part of the response that Madam Chair has given now, that are unique and specific to Angola, maybe we can then engage on those in the next 2 weeks while we are in Angola. But we are coming on the SADC Child Protocol consultative meetings, both for children and for CSOs. Now, moving on to resolution 4, just to assist the board there. The issue here is we do have an existing minimum standards of membership, but what we are now experiencing is challenges in relation to activities that we are doing at national level. You would know that all the activities that are done and has the headquarters as part of it, as such that the national network is the one that is leading them. But we are seeing different applications in terms of how those activities are done. Some network members charge CRNSA staff time, some don't, and it has to be negotiated, and we come to a consensus. Now, to avoid where it's not standard and it's not uniform and we don't know when to negotiate and when not to negotiate, that is why we feel that perhaps the minimum standards or the code of conduct, it needs to be reviewed in its entire totality, and perhaps also speak about issues of feedback. But because what we are also finding is that there isn't so much going on except the activities we do together in terms of what perhaps what Letsema is doing in Lesotho, that we can profile at CRNSA, put on our platforms as well as that activity is going on, or share, or things like that. So that is where this rule of engagement and code of minimum standard is coming from, that we subscribe to one thing. And that one thing is what then identifies us as CRNSA, because CRNSA is membership. It's one thing that identifies us, and that it can be similar from one country to the next. What we currently have as the minimum standard of membership, it's that form which you fill your details and all of that, and it ends there. Issues around the safeguarding protocol, for instance, it needs to be part and parcel of the code of conduct or the minimum standard to say, for instance, that we recently had a case and we didn't know how to handle such a case of abuse. So in those instances, what do we do if our own membership code of conduct doesn't speak to such issues? So it's the review that has all of these elements together: communication, children safeguarding and participation, issues around finance and technical support, all of those things. And somebody had asked whether we had experienced challenges. Like I indicated, there have been challenges here and there, and some of those really because we haven't signed anything that binds the both of us around how do we act or how do we deal with such an issue if it's not written down. It has been a challenge. So that's where this code of conduct really is coming from. And the executive committee has a mandate to ensure that when we are speaking about CRNSA, we are speaking about both the secretariat and the membership acting in one accord, and that we understand what it means to be a member or not to be a member. I don't know if that is fully responded to. Members can also ask questions if it's not. On resolution 2, if you look at the strategic framework, there's a heavy investment around ICT, information technology and communication. And that heavy focus around that, it's not anyway within the CRNSA organogram or the current one. So we need to make sure that we are alive to that if we are to really make the strategic plan work. Never would we have resources that are just staying at headquarters or at the secretariat, because the CRNSA's constituency remain the national networks. So there's no way that resources can be we can get resources and then they are not trickling down to national members, because on its own in Pretoria, CRNSA doesn't have a constituency. The constituency is in SADC countries. It's in facilitating and supporting national networks in the different SADC countries. So that's the bottom line. But we need to have an organogram that facilitate for us to then do resource mobilization, because all of us know, because you are leaders in your countries, that part of resource mobilization documents that you also send is the strategic plan, is the organogram. So if it's not even speaking to that, there's a mismatch there in terms of looking for those resources. Yeah, I think that's about it, Chenge. I don't know if there's any other component perhaps that is not fully answered.
Thank you, Felicitas, and thank you, Madam Chair, for your responses to those comments and to those questions that were raised by the members. Now I think we have to move on and adopt. It's already 1 o'clock. So I'm just going to read out the 6 resolutions, their titles, not the whole thing. So resolution number 1 is around the CRNSA strategic plan and how it was finalized. And it has been presented today to the members. The second resolution is around the CRNSA Secretariat and the new ways of working, which Felicitas has just spoken about. The third resolution is around the need for CRNSA capacity building. And this is following on from the organizational capacity assessment and speaking to what we need to do around capacity building. Resolution number 4 speaks to rules of engagement and code of conduct, plus minimum standards for members. And this also has been explained. There were questions around it. The resolution number 5 is around financial issues moving CRNSA bank accounts from Eswatini to Pretoria. And there were really no questions around that one. And then number 6 is on the executive committee elections. There was a question from Angola, but Madame Emilia resolved that. Now, having read those titles of the 6 resolutions proposed by the ExCom, we can possibly move to a process where we have someone move a motion for the adoption and someone can second that motion. Then we can proceed. With your guidance, Madam Chair, I see there are hands raised. Let me just check. Madam Chair, can we proceed in this manner with your guidance?
Estou a ouvir com alguns cortes, não pude perceber a questão colocada para a Cheng. Pode repetir, por favor? Sim, penso que com a permissão da Assembleia podemos sim avançar. Obrigada.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, colleagues, could we have someone move a motion for adoption and someone to second? Then we can proceed.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say that someone had already moved for adoption and we want to second. Because I think earlier on someone moved for the adoption. Then we have these clarifications and we are now moving for adoption for supporting, we're seconding that adoption. Thank you.
Muito obrigado a todos os membros. Eu peço que é uma salva de palmas para nós e vamos avançar. Muito obrigada.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members. You will appreciate that these are processes that we have to go through as a network organization. We need to make sure that we are in consensus and that we all are in the same frame of thought, frame of mind, and in agreement with whatever it is that we set ourselves out to do. So this conversation and discussion around the resolutions is very important to ensure that we are all on the same page and that we move together going forward. But of course, as we go along, we should always be interacting, we should always be calling upon each other where we need assistance. You'll find the Secretariat reaching out a lot to the members, and also that engagement of the members with the Secretariat as well as the ExCom to make sure that we continue to have conversations around how we want to work as CRNSA, because all we want at the end of the day is to be stronger for children. That is really what we want. So if these resolutions make us stronger and we are all happy with them, we are very thankful for that. So thank you, Madam Chair, and the rest of the board for those resolutions and for leading this process. And thank you, Felicitas, for also sharing what the Secretariat is doing. And if there are any other issues arising, let us keep them as we are going to continue to be engaging in the afternoon. 1:08. I apologize. We have eaten into your lunch time. So I will now close this session and allow everyone to go for lunch, and we can meet back, I'll say at 2 o'clock. Let's try to all be back at 2 o'clock because my passion really is to see that the afternoon where the children are going to participate, we just get them to have a meaningful time of engagement, I think, and that will be good for us. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing the whole morning for these discussions. So let's break for lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.